Vegas Pro from Boris FX includes the Continuum Title Pack. This is a full package of video effects that allow us to do 3D extrusions of text, shapes, and even vector files. It also includes type-on text for automatic 2D or 3D animated type-on and type-off. But the big one is Title Studio. This is a full titler with tons of features, way more than we could see in just one video. What's going on, everybody? Josh here from Boris FX, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Title Studio and how to get started with it. First, let's get Title Studio onto the timeline and learn how to apply a preset. While you could just drop this effect onto a video clip, it's actually better to apply it to an empty event. Why is that? It's because it gives you a clean slate to work with and allows you to easily add fades to the start or end, and you won't accidentally mess up the colors of the footage underneath. It's all about keeping your project organized. Not only that, but Title Studio has flexible durations, which I'll talk about here in a sec. So to add our empty event, we can right-click on the timeline and select Insert Video Track. Now on our new video track, we can right-click and select Insert Empty Media Event. This drops a 5-second empty event onto our timeline. In the Video Effects tab, go ahead and search for Title Studio at the top, select the default preset, and drag it onto your empty event. It'll load a default title for us, as well as open up the Video Event Effects window. Next, let's dive into navigating the effects browser. Now, Title Studio excels at being a preset-driven workflow, but that doesn't mean you can't really create anything from scratch. We just have so many presets ready to rock and roll that when you choose one of them, all you gotta do is make small adjustments to get it looking exactly how you want. So jumping back into Vegas Pro, I'm gonna choose one of these presets to work with, and I'll do so by clicking the Effects Browser button, which will open up a new UI. This is the Title Studio Effects Browser, and it's your library of high-end designs. On the left-hand side, you'll see a lot of categories like 3D models, clocks and countdowns, lower thirds, and even social media animations. When you click on any one of them, they'll load in the preview window and you can press the spacebar to see what the animation or title looks like. By default, the background is the checkered transparency background. This means that anywhere you see the checkered background, that's going to be transparency. It might be hard to see some of the animations, so you can change that up here at the top to composite over black. Or if you apply Title Studio effect to a video itself and not an empty media event, you can select composite over background, and you'll see the video here in the background instead of just a solid color. But applying Title Studio to an empty event is a more powerful method that I like to use, so we're going to stick with composite over black so we can see our animations and how they look. For this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and change a lower thirds. I like the double line accent, so if we play this one out, we'll see what it looks like. A box flies in, another one reveals some text behind it, and then it animates out. Looks pretty cool to me. But before you hit apply and close this window, down below you're actually going to see a very convenient section for text. You can quickly change your text right here without having to load up the advanced Title Studio UI and hunt down just words to change a little bit of text. They make it really convenient right here. So I'm going to adjust the text a little bit, and I changed it to JHam, a content creator. It didn't reflect automatically. You actually have to click this little insert text button, and then it inserts your text where it goes. It applied the bottom right, and it immediately reflects onto your Vegas Pro timeline. Now let's talk about the magic of elastic animations. Here's what makes Title Studio a total lifesaver compared to other standard titlers. It's flexible duration. In most software, if you make a 5-second title turn into, say, a 10-second title, the animation slows down and looks sluggish. Not here. Title Studio uses intro and outro fixed runs, which means that the fly-in animation at the beginning and fly out at the end will look the same speed no matter how long the event is in your Vegas Pro timeline. Currently, the event is 5 seconds, but we can drag it open a few more seconds, make it 10 seconds long if we wanted, right? And then we play, and the animation speed is going to stay the same at the beginning and the end. It always looks snappy and professional. Basically, set it and forget it timing. Now let's dive deeper into customizing in the Title Studio UI. If the preset is almost perfect, but you want to change the vibe a little, click the Launch UI window. This will load up the full Title Studio engine. Now it's a bit much the first time you get in here, but we're only going to change a few things just to get your feet wet. The general idea is to select the thing you want to change at the bottom left and change what you want about it in the parameter area at the top left. Pretty simple. Let's make our first change to the font. So I see my main text down here in the left-hand timeline. I double click it, and that jumps me right to where I need to be. Here I can change the text itself and change the font. A really cool thing is you can use multiple fonts here at the same time. So like if I wanted JHam to be Impact and Content Creator to be Franklin Gothic medium, I can do that, and it'll immediately reflect here in your preview window. Next up, I want to change the color. On the left-hand side, we're currently in the styles mode. Right below it is the color mode. This shows a few more parameters down here. And again, we can change the color of specific letters or words individually or entirely by holding Control A and selecting everything. And then down here, we'll see text fill. There's two modes. Right now, it's set to solid color or gradient. You can change it to gradient to make it look cool if you want. That's a really awesome one. But for this one, I'm going to stick with just a solid color. You can select the eyedropper and select any color here in the window, or you can select the color square itself and manually choose what you want on the spectrum. I'm going to go with maybe like this orange right here. Is that okay? And that looks pretty good to me. Now, if there's a color bar or box behind your text, like there is in this lower third, and you want to change that color, you're going to have to do it a little bit differently. And it all depends on the title or animation you chose. So for this lower third, on the left-hand side, if I go see my accent or my main triangle, if I double-click its name, like I did for the text, nothing comes up here. I actually have to select the texture itself, and then I go to the controls, and I'll see a few tabs right here, and one of them is fill. That's where I can change the color of this square. If you don't see what I'm seeing, down here in your timeline, you're probably going to see something like background shape or base rectangle. You'll select that, then go up here and you'll see a controls and most likely a texture tab, and inside there you'll see fill. But no matter what, you want to end up here at the fill tab. The fill type for this bar is currently solid color, but I'm going to make this one a gradient to show you what that looks like. When I choose gradient, the only option I have is to click the gradient itself to edit it, and it opens my color parameter window. From here, we can add additional gradients. We can drag and drop these, and as long as live update is checked, we can see what we're doing and how we're adjusting it live. So I'm going to stick this gradient right here. I select it once, and then I can change its color. Currently, it's black. I'm going to change that to maybe like this teal and maybe make it a little bit darker like that. Okay, that looks really cool in my eyes. So I'm going to go over to the white one over here and select it. And now I'm going to drag it way more to the right, fill it out. Then select the white color. I'm going to choose that same teal, but I'm going to make it really light, like up here. Is it okay? And now I have a cool dark to light teal gradient background for this. If you're happy with that, select OK. And then let's drag this animation and see what it looks like. And oh, I'm noticing something about this particular lower third. The accent square, this white one, is what helped make the reveal for the text because the text was white. But now that I changed the text color, the reveal isn't as nice. So to fix that, I'm actually going to change this accent color of this square by going to my accent rectangle in the timeline, selecting texture, going to fill, changing the color to orange. I'm going to match the orange by selecting the eyedropper and then eyedropping over the orange. Let's see what it looks like. Perfect. It reveals it just fine. Next, let's talk about resizing boxes and the keyframe trap. Sometimes you need that background box to be changed just a little bit. Maybe you need a bit wider for a long name or to shrink it for aesthetics. Let's head back into Title Studio to fix it. So let's say I have way too much text in here. Is a content creator that makes things. And whoa, clearly this title is way too long for this lower thirds bar. So we need to extend this bar behind it. I'm going to go to my controls, and right now I'm selected with my text, and I could either take this little arrow and drag this around, and you'll see it adjusts my position, the X position, because I'm dragging the left and right only arrow. And I think it looks pretty good right there. So I now know that I need to extend the bar at least this far to cover my text. So I'm going to go down to the bottom left and go to my main rectangle. I'm going to choose the parent, not the texture. And in here, I'll see my shape position parameters for this bar itself. Now, the one I want to adjust is the scale X. Now, you can do that a couple of ways. You can click the number and drag left and right, and that'll increase and decrease the scale. 126 looks really good, actually, because I'll have to move this bar back to the left because it's scaled outward. But it is a good width that should engulf all of my text. But here's something that I noticed when I changed the scale. This little square right here, which is the interpolation, went from blank to decelerate. So that means it actually changed the animation on me. So if I play my animation, you'll see that there's a problem. The animation changes. I added a keyframe right here. Now, depending on which title or animation you chose, there is actually a simple fix for that. You can click on the interpolation and change it to constant, and it will change to a dashed line. Now for me, if I play that, the bar is no longer animating in and out like it should. So this isn't the quick fix for me, but it can be for you, and it's the first thing you should try. Now since it didn't work for me, I'll just have to quickly edit a couple keyframes and the animation will look great. So I'm going to hold Control Z to undo back to where I changed the scale, and now I know that the scale is 126, looks really good. So this is the keyframe I added. I'm going to look on that same line and go back down to the beginning where these two other keyframes are. And we can see at the very beginning, the scale is 0, and then it increases to 100. So I'm going to select this keyframe, and I'm going to change this to 126. And now we see it animates from 0 to 126, which is what we need. So then we go to the accidental keyframe we made, select it, and we can just delete it real quick. And then go back down, we'll see the animation still needs to finish off in the same values. As I continue down the timeline, my scale goes back down to 100. I want to change that. I'm going to select this keyframe, and then make it back to 126. So now if I play everything out, it's the consistent length all the way through. Perfect. But I know what you're thinking. It's not on the text. Well, we can easily fix that by clicking on position X's value and dragging left or right. Or if you wanted to be a little more precise, you can grab this bar and change that as well. And you'll see that the position moves. And you'll notice, remember what I was talking about? The interpolation is the dashed line, so it's already constant. That means if we play it, it's going to stay where it needs to be. Then we go to the end. Perfect. I am noticing that the accent bar can also be scaled up a little bit because the text pops in right here. So I'm going to click on the parent of the accent rectangle and also increase its scale. So 148 looks pretty good. It covers what we need to cover, but it did change the interpolation to decelerate. So let's just do the same little adjustments we made back here. So I'm going to go back to the keyframe right before it, change it to 148. Delete the keyframe I just made. We'll select the very last keyframe, do 148. Let's move its position a little bit to bring it back in frame, like we had to do with the first one. Perfect. Once you're happy with it, hit apply at the bottom right, and then we can see it take effect. Animation stays, reveals the entire length, and the animation goes away. A perfect lower third that just needed a little bit of tweaks. But don't worry, the presets have been created so this won't be a problem. It's just something to know about as you explore it more yourself. The final step into making your title look like it belongs on a TV broadcast is motion blur. By default, it's often turned off to keep your computer running fast, but it's easy to enable for your final render. Back in Title Studio again, on the left-hand side, we're going to see the scene, which is the parent that engulfs everything. Select it, and then at the top left parameters, we're going to see render. Down at the bottom of render, we have enable motion blur, and that is it. Once you click that button, you have motion blur. You can adjust the smoothness from either low all the way to highest. Highest looks the best to me, so I'm going to do that and then hit apply, and then you've officially added motion blur. Now when your text flies in and out, it'll have that beautiful natural photographic blur, which is just a super small detail, but it's the difference between amateur and pro. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up, this initial exploration into the Continuum Title Pack inside of Vegas Pro. I'm excited to see what you guys will create now that you have your hands on this powerful titling tool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.